Hello everyone, welcome to City Talk hosted by CTPI. My name is Todd. I'm absolutely honored to be your host for today. For today's City Talk, we want to take a look at a country in the ASEAN community that has developed immensely over the past decade. This country has developed in terms of foreign investments, education, tourism, and the economic growth has also been astounding. We want to know why this country has developed so fast and at an immense rate. This country is called Vietnam. Everyone has heard of Vietnam, but nowadays Vietnam is developing so fast that every country wants to know about their models of development and how every country can sustainably develop like Vietnam. Today for City Talk, we want to take a look close at Vietnam and also their development as well. And joining us today, ladies and gentlemen, is the Board Advisor, Ministry of Science and Technology of Vietnam, Board Member of ASEAN Business Angel Alliance, and Chairwoman, Board of Advisor, Saigon Innovation Hub. Please welcome Ms. Phi Van Nguyen. Hello, Ere.
Hello, and very good morning to everyone.
Thank you for joining us. And of course, today's topic of City Talk, we want to take a look at Vietnam. So maybe we can ask you a couple of questions about this country, Vietnam, that has developed immensely over the past decade.
Fantastic. I'll be very happy to share.
Okay, so Ms. Phan, I would like to ask you first, Ms. Phi, how are the board member at ASEAN Business Angel Alliance and Chairwoman, Board of Advisor, Saigon Innovation Hub connected?
Basically, in 2015, when Vietnam started the nationwide plan to really bring the country forward as the startup and innovation hub, especially in Asia Pacific. We have basically created a roadmap of how this whole ecosystem in terms of startup in innovation should be elevated. And part of it is building not only the startup community, the institutional community, the investment community, but also a lot of incubators, accelerators, and especially education institutions from K-12 to university and colleges to be able to help the country bring everything forward. And for the past 5 years, we have been working very hard on doing that. Saigon Innovation Hub is basically the #1 hub under the Department of Science and Technology of Ho Chi Minh City. And its mandate is to build Ho Chi Minh City as the hub of startup and innovation in the region. And by that, what we mean is to help connect Vietnam with the world, connect Vietnam with all the startup and innovation ecosystems around the world. Of course, part of it is also to help establish the investing community for the hub, starting from angel investment through to seed investment, Series A, Series B, so a lot of VCs. Basically that's when we also established Vietnam Angel Network, which is part of the Business ASEAN Angel Alliance Network with about 5,000 members across the ASEAN, Thailand included, to help elevate and invest into great ideas to innovate the city and the country.
Great. So now talking more about Vietnam, because this is a country that we want to take a look at, and it's a great model for other countries in terms of development. At present, Vietnam has been developing very rapidly. The growth is absolutely amazing. And what do you think has been the key factor that has contributed to such development? Furthermore, how has the Vietnamese people adapted to these changes?
I have to say there are 3 things that have been helping Vietnam greatly in the past 5 years up to now. First of all, we're very strong in terms of supporting the development of startup and innovation. Apart from the Ministry of Science and Technology, who leads the whole nationwide promotion of startup and innovation, every city, every province has its own committee, and we all work with each other in terms of a network of provinces and cities to help elevate. We classify projects into provincial or citywide projects, and then we also bring it up to the national level and then international level. So there's a very close and tight network of tiers of development that the country has put into action. So if you have a great idea at the provincial or city level, you can basically participate into the ecosystem of that particular city, and then you get supported to really build your ideas and build your projects forward. And when you reach a level where you can be part of the national network, you can then be elevated into the national network. And then from the national network, what we do at Ministry of Science and Technology is to connect them to the wider international and global network. So we work very hard to go out and reach out to all communities, even in America, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and obviously Asia Pacific, to help not only push our projects and startups forward into the international arena, but also welcome with a lot of open door policies for projects, innovative projects from abroad to flow into Vietnam. So that's the first sector, the first thing that would help the country to open up and be connected to the wider community in terms of innovation. Secondly, I think we invest a lot into human resources, because we understand that a city or a nation would never be able to be competitive, to be innovative, or to be part of the global innovation ecosystem if we don't invest into people. At the end of the day, people are the core factor that would help to create innovators, create inventors, create great startups in the community. So for the past 3 years, we have been doing a lot of creative education promotion, and also integrate creative education into not only K-12, college, university, but also the wider public, to help people to have, to create and to embed innovation into their blood. And lastly, I have to say that within 3 years of establishing the ecosystem, Vietnam already had about 3,000 startups that are very much quality and create a lot of attention from the investing community. So I remember 2015 when we had nothing and established the plan to push the city and the country forward. We had to go out and talk to so many different innovation ecosystems around the world. And within 3 years, I think Vietnam is now one of the hottest hub for the investing community all over the world. So that does help a lot to bring everything forward.
Wow. And obviously the government is the backbone of development. So your work mainly has to do with the government sector. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So in this role, how has the Vietnamese government helped with the public policy, and how has it contributed to the development of the country, including how has this attracted foreign investment into the country as well?
I have to say that even though Vietnam is still very much a developing nation, when it comes to creative and innovation, we're very lucky to have the Ministry of Science and Technology to push everything forward no matter what. So as you know, a lot of the countries around the world, innovation comes forward and then government follows. Basically, governments have to chase innovation and create policies to facilitate innovation. Here, what we do is we understand that the existing system could be hard to change overnight. So in order to facilitate innovation, we have to create sandboxes. So we create a lot of different policies and sandboxes for new industries, new sectors, new ideas, for them to be piloted to a level where it could be launched nationwide and to the public. Thanks to that policy, I think a lot of the creative projects have been supported, and a lot of the initiatives have been successful in Vietnam. That's the first thing I have to say about my compliment for the government of Vietnam. Secondly, I think in parallel to supporting ideas and supporting innovation, there needs to be a network of all the stakeholders in the ecosystem to work together, because you can't have the government alone, the education institutions alone, or the investing community alone. You have to really put them together, connect them, and get them to work with each other. So we basically create, we build up the connection, the connectivity of all the stakeholders together through various national programs, events, and within, we have like thousands of events a year that we celebrate to bring the investing communities together with the startup communities, with the education sector, with the startup community, with the incubators and accelerators, and everyone basically sit on the same table and talk the same language, and basically bring everything that they have on board on the table to discuss. Such connectivity is so important when people talk to each other, when problems are actually raised together, and when solutions are actually designed together. So I think that's the second thing that would help to bring everything forward so quickly. And last but not least, I think the Ministry of Investment and Commerce of Vietnam have also been very active in working with the Ministry of Science and Technology in creating policies for startups and innovative enterprises, not only domestically, but also to open up Vietnam as a lending pad for a lot of startups from overseas. I remember before COVID, I probably received about 2 delegations from different countries to Ho Chi Minh City and to Vietnam to explore Vietnam as the landing pad into the ASEAN. So we have a network of very creative engineers from universities that could help with human resources for startups and also for innovative corporations around the world to actually choose Vietnam as a lending space. So I think that alone talks a lot about the initiative of the government to help bring in investors, but not only investors, but also a lot of the businesses, the creative businesses around the world to choose Vietnam as a destination.
Right. So you mentioned a lot about startup. When talking about startup, with the emergence of startup in Vietnam, what are the current directions and how will they move the country forward?
I think there are 2 phases in our startup development in Vietnam. The first phase is from 2015 to 2018, where the startup ecosystem was first established. So the main role of the government at that time was to promote entrepreneurship, promote innovation and creativity among the youth, and at the same time help connect and bring in all the stakeholders of the ecosystems to help build a more robust ecosystems in Vietnam. So through that, we had 3,000 startups in that particular period in various sectors. I think from 2018 until now, it's the second phase of development where we are more focused on deep tech, into supporting a lot more unicorn-led startups, and more into helping to get the VC and the investing communities all over the world to actually invest into startups in Vietnam. So the second phase is global development, is rising stars of startups that have been invested anywhere from, let's say, $5 million to $500 million in Vietnam. And we created a quality pool of startups that way. And I think through the COVID period, even when everything was so difficult, a lot of BD has been done online, a lot of investing has been done online. And through the period, a lot of news about our startups that have been invested with a big sum of money from the investing communities around the world have been a very encouraging and positive news to Vietnam. I think after COVID, the next phase of development, again, Vietnam is now looking at how to create the connectivity between big corporations, small SMEs, and also the startup communities to actually merge all the creativity and innovation together, so that innovation doesn't mean only startup. Innovation means the whole economy of the whole nation.
When talking about Vietnam, of course, it's a city which has beautiful markets, full of nightlife, city life. With the COVID-19 and with the lockdown, has consumer behavior changed in terms of doing things online, ordering things online, e-commerce? Has it forever changed the consumer behavior?
I guess so, and I guess it happens for everyone around the region. Obviously, during COVID, you talk about hundreds of percents of e-commerce, payment online, payment gateway, new ways of doing business, new business models that happen everywhere in Vietnam. I think through COVID, the positive news is that a lot of our startups have actually been transferring from only burning cash to become unicorns to actually making money, so that you can survive and become unicorns in the future. That's one positive news. Secondly, I think a lot of the SMEs in Vietnam have learned the lessons of digitalization. So there's a huge acceleration of digital transformation in Vietnam, and new business models have been launched in the market very successfully. I myself am an investor, so during COVID, I actually invest double into the number of companies that I come across, not only startups, but also SMEs who have now restarted up because of COVID. So that's positive news in Vietnam. Only about 2 months ago, we launched the golden brand of Ho Chi Minh City Enterprises, and we had about 7 different brands in SMEs and big companies in Vietnam receiving the award. And I'm sitting in the jury, and I'm so surprised to see that they all have growth in terms of revenue, growth in terms of profit, and yet at the same time, they still look after very well their employees. So, through such a difficult time comes out very tough and very future-oriented enterprises, I guess.
Right. Another key word that every country is looking for is sustainable development. I want to touch on this a bit. When it comes to sustainable development, the United Nations sees the importance of this keyword, which is sustainable development. It's a key ideology. So in your opinion, how has Vietnam tackled the key concept of sustainable development in terms of investment, creating a sustainable economy, and educational development of the country?
I'm so happy that you asked that question, because I'm very big on sustainable development. So first of all, in terms of investing, I think you'll be very surprised to see how many impact funds that we have in Vietnam. And the impact funds not only come from the international investing communities, but also the local community. Even for angel investors, our syndicate funds actually very, very clearly indicate that we are an impact fund. So the first condition that you should present to us is how you're going to help change the society, the environment, the people's lives, people's health, and stuff like that. It has been a fantastic journey in the past 3 years to see that many impact funds looking for impact startups and companies in Vietnam. Secondly, I think in terms of education, the city of Ho Chi Minh City, the people community of Ho Chi Minh City, actually I run together with a program called Future You, which is to create social innovators among the youth from 8 to 16 years old. And we've been doing it 3 seasons. So basically we open up the application for all the students, pupils in all the secondary and high schools across the city to come together, learn about design thinking, learn about creative problem solving, and then create and identify social problems and come up with solutions. So it has been huge for the past 3 seasons, with a lot of mentors from big corporations jumping onto the ship and help these very young people to talk about sustainability. And last but not least, I think there are a lot of NGOs in Vietnam also are hugely promoting sustainability, such as UNICEF or the UN. I remember doing a huge project 2018-2019 with UNICEF Vietnam to help design the smart and child-friendly city of Ho Chi Minh City. And the designers are all young people, from 10 to 18 people, 18 years old. They come together, they get to learn about design thinking, about creative problem solving through an institution, creative institution in Finland called Arki International. And then after that, they get to incubate their ideas like a startup. Design the solutions, pitch the solutions to the city, and get awarded for their plan or their solutions, and the solutions then be put into action by the city committee. So it was a huge project, a huge initiative, and it creates a lot of attention from the media and also the public to help bring sustainability forward. So I'm very, very proud of that particular project.
So talking more in depth about education, obviously the students are the future workforce of the country. What kind of education development do you have, and can you give us some examples?
So for the past 3 years, we have been promoting creative education within K-12 in Vietnam, because we think, just like if you want to have a really good tree, you have to start from the seed. So we work with an institution in Finland called Arki International, which I mentioned before, to help bring creative education and integrate it into the actual official education system of Vietnam. So basically the pupils and the students are actually engaged into creative education and learn how to problem solve, how to think out of the box, how to create solutions to different problems, especially social problems and environmental problems. And they do it like an official subject in school. Once a week, twice a week. Some schools does it twice a week. Some schools do it once a week. And we promote it, we integrate it into from primary school onwards up to now. After 3 years, I think because of that 3 years, we run Future You, which is a social innovation incubation program for students at the same time, and create so many solutions to social problems and city development. It becomes, I think, one of the most successful initiative in terms of education to bring forward innovation in the city itself, but also across the nation.
Right. Another question is very important. When talking about the various research and project proposal, have there been any that has been implemented that other countries can follow your lead?
So I would go back to the smart city and child-friendly project that we did with UNICEF. So there were basically 4 different stakeholders in that particular project. The first stakeholder is obviously the People Committee of Ho Chi Minh City. The second stakeholder is the Department of Urban Planning and Architecture of Ho Chi Minh City, because they are the people who would take the concept from the students and implement it at a citywide level. The third is Saigon Innovation Hub, because we are the leader in terms of promoting creativity and innovation across the city. And we have all the support of the different stakeholders in the ecosystem to go and help these kids to make their ideas come true and make their ideas becomes very practical solutions, just like we're incubating real startups. And last but not least is the knowledge partner, which is Aki International from Finland. That particular project we did for 3 months. We engaged around 700 children and youth across the city, not only youth from the public schools, but also from orphanages, from the disadvantaged children from different NGOs, to help bring them together and create ideas about how to develop the city further. That particular project, because it's got the engagement of the government from the first place, it does become a government's project and not only a private project or another innovative project. We created a huge exhibition, both physically and online, for the city people to vote. So they can actually get online, okay, they can come to the exhibition to look at the various solutions about smart city, a friendly city, what to do, how to bring the city forward. And I think all the adults are so amazed about the deep knowledge and the solutions that the youth has to have and has to offer, because they are really innovators already in their blood. If you allow them a chance to express themselves, they obviously will express it very well. And that particular project also has been awarded top prize at the Global Mayor Summit in Cologne in 2020. And it brings huge honor for Ho Chi Minh City in terms of city development. After the project, the Department of Urban Planning and Architecture of Ho Chi Minh City actually take all these projects forward, and the plan that we developed, the plan that was developed by the KID was for District 2, which is the new city in Ho Chi Minh City. And now the new city is being designed and developed as we speak. And a lot of the ideas like Opera House, like, green living, green space areas, kids areas, stuff like that, are actually taken from the projects of the kids to input into the real city planning. So I'm very, very happy to see that happen.
So we'll come back to innovation because this is a topic we want to touch on more. However, when talking about education, you have an example that you would like to show us, right? Maybe a video presentation, because we talk a lot about education development, the future workforce. We understand about the investment, the cyber city, the making the city more e-commerce because of the COVID and of course because of the new era. However, is there a video presentation you'd like to show us in terms of education?
Okay, can I actually haven't got it on my screen at the moment. Let me find it while you're asking me another question, maybe.
Well, what you've talked about is how Vietnam has developed so quickly and so fast. I think a lot of countries can learn from Vietnam because over the past decade, they have developed immensely. And I would like to say a big congratulations to Vietnam. I mean, the Formula One, the most televised sporting event, is going to be televised there. It's actually going to be held there. So the FIA is very strict in terms of creating a racetrack which is safe not only for the drivers but also for the fans, the people who are traveling there. You got to have good hotels, obviously a place where you can have concerts, a good ecosystem, a good racing track, safe for the fans and also the driver. So how about congratulations to Vietnam for getting the approval from FIA and having a racetrack there in Vietnam. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much for that. Okay, I need to get.
Unfortunate that because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have not been able to see a race in Vietnam yet. However, we look forward to it when everything is better. And of course, if you take a look at the racetrack in Vietnam, that has one of the highest speed tracks on the planet. It's absolutely amazing. And you're actually going to use your roads to become the racetrack, which is fantastic.
Yes. So Vietnam has been actually working on various projects to actually bring the attention of the
Foreign investment, tourism.
Yes.
Because with the racetrack there and with the approval of FIA, this will definitely draw a lot of foreign investment to see that Vietnam is not a developing country, but has developed, has one of the best ecosystem and also a safe hub for people to invest, to study there, expats to go there, tourism there. And right now, Vietnam is really promoting not just startup, but foreign investment too, right?
Yes, correct. So Vietnam basically not only promote investment in terms of startups and SMEs, but also into a lot of the sustainability projects that we're talking about. So I hope we will get to see a lot more happening in the future after COVID and after people can actually travel. This year we basically would love to create a huge event in terms of open innovation to promote not only the promotion of startup or investment, but also into NGO projects, into big corporations getting to integrate into the ecosystem as a whole. Okay, let me see. UNICEF.
So while we're waiting for the video, I'll go on to another question, which is very important as well, just like every question. When talking about Saigon Innovation Hub plan to create innovation development in the next 3 years, how will these innovations contribute to Vietnam's sustainability, and what are some of the innovations you see in the next 3 years by the Saigon Innovation Hub?
At Saigon Innovation Hub at the moment, we have 3 things that we focus on. First of all, we still focus on creative education. So we do a lot of projects in terms of helping teachers to become innovators, helping teachers to learn about design thinking and embed creativity into their own modules and subjects. Because if the teachers are not part of it and only the students, then it would be very difficult for the whole education arena to be changed. So we focus on helping teachers to actually integrate into the ecosystem. That's number one. Secondly, we create a huge club where we get startups and digital transformation consultants and SMEs together so that we can create an opportunity for SMEs to really restart up. We also give them the opportunity to actually become IPO companies in the future. So we very much focus on helping digitalizing and also listing quality enterprises in Vietnam. And last but not least, I think this year is a special year because we have a new city mayor who is very, very strong in terms of supporting startup and also supporting the investing and the business community. So we create a lot of connectivity programs around in the city to actually connect the city with all the various provinces and other cities to create strength together. We have programs to accelerate SMEs, we have programs to accelerate startups, and we have programs to actually create more of a hub where startups from everywhere can actually plug in, create startups where founders can be Vietnamese and foreigners together. So we match them and we venture build them to become successful companies in the future. So those are very exciting plans for Saigon Innovation Hub and for the city of Ho Chi Minh City.
Great.
Okay.
So we have two final questions, but however, we would like to take a look at the video presentation first, the next final two questions. But just to sum up, obviously we heard a lot about Vietnam and how startups, smart city, cyber city has developed Vietnam into the new era. Most people think that Vietnam has just developed in terms of ecosystem. I mean, Vietnam has a great ecosystem. If you go up north, you see the beautiful mountains. If you go to the East Coast, it's right next to the Pacific Ocean. However, if you talk about Vietnam in terms of cyber, they have developed immensely as well. People can go to Vietnam, they can book tickets, they can do everything online. When traveling to Vietnam or when investing in Vietnam. So apart from just investing in terms of land and ecosystem there, investment in terms of cyber in Vietnam has also developed so much as well. And obviously Saigon Innovation Hub will develop with Vietnam and move the country forward.
Yes, that's right. I have to say that the city of Ho Chi Minh City has been very active and have very much been forward-looking in terms of creating new projects and all the time to basically help bring everything forward. At the national level, I think the Ministry of Science and Technology has been going out of their way, not only doing normal things that the ministry not normally do, but go out of their way, especially when there's nothing when there are no policies or no regulations in place to support new sectors. They have been working with different ministries to help creating sandboxes and creating space for piloting and for development. So I think with such forward thinking mindset, allowing new things to happen instead of being very afraid of it and delay it or stop it from happening. I think forward looking is the only mindset that does help to bring everything forward at the city level or country level.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll just wait for the video. We really want to see this video because
I know. I'm very sorry. For some reason I haven't actually prepared it properly. Okay. My apology for that.
We can just move on to the next question, which is the second to last question, and it's very important. So in this question, I want to ask, in order for the world to move forward to globalization and modernization and so forth, in your opinion, how important is it to work on every aspect and every field?
How important is it to work in every aspect and every field? I think in terms of development,
globalization to work, yes.
I think there are things that need to be looked at the wider level, as in sustainability. How does the city or the nation be part of the global development? Because we all talk about the 17 goal of sustainable development, and if we're not meeting the goals and we're not really looking after the planet and the people, then obviously nothing will happen in the future, and the future generations will have a lot of difficulties integrating into or holding on to this word. So sustainability is the number one factor in terms of what needs to be looked at in terms of strategy of development at the moment. Secondly, I think in terms of economy, we cannot get away from the fact that we're living in the creative economy already. So whether you like it or not, the projects, the subjects of the topics of startups, the topics of digitalization, the topics of connectivity in terms of transforming big corporations, transforming big companies, transforming the small and medium companies are the focus of attention. Because if you only support startups, startups go startups will need to work with the wider business community and need to be clients or suppliers to the business community as well. So total development to me of the economy should be not only startup or SME or big corporations, but all of them together to create open innovation. But you know, we don't have all the resources in the world to actually put into creating all the sectors, all the categories, all the industries. I think we need to really pay attention to what are the key sectors and the key industries of a nation, of a city, to actually bring everything forward. So for example, in Vietnam, we will look at travel and tourism, we will look at agriculture, we will look at green development, sustainability in terms of utilities. We will look at, you know, the supporting B2B industries for existing businesses in Ho Chi Minh City and Vietnam. So, and obviously EdTech, Health Tech, those are the key sectors. And we, after some time of developing the nation in terms of creating promotions around different sectors, we now are more focused into some of the areas that would help bring the economy forward and become competitive in the global arena.
Right. So just to sum up, obviously the key word for City Talk is sustainable development, and Vietnam can be a great model for sustainable development in terms of not just talking about Vietnam, but focusing on many countries around the world, including countries within the ASEAN community. The key concept of our program is sustainable development and moving forward into globalization, modernization. How can other countries move forward in terms of sustainable development in today's era?
I've got the video now. Would you like me to share first?
Take a look at the video and then we'll sum up the today's program. So let's take a look at the video. This is about education. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. That's about the project that we did for the smart city and creative education of the kids.
Great. Let's take a look.
Okay, let me share screen.
Yes.
Cuối tuần qua, Quỹ Nhi đồng Liên Hợp Quốc UNICEF, Sài Gòn Innovation Hub và Sở Quy hoạch Kiến trúc Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh đã cùng hợp tác ra mắt chương trình Trẻ em sáng tạo thành phố thông minh và thân thiện với trẻ em. Đây là hoạt động nằm trong khuôn khổ chương trình lớn xây dựng Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh thân thiện với trẻ em giai đoạn 2017-2021 do UNICEF và Ủy ban Nhân dân Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh thực hiện.
Chương trình bao gồm chuỗi 11 khóa tư duy sáng tạo trong mùa hè 2018 dành cho 275 trẻ từ 8 đến 14 tuổi, bao gồm cả trẻ em thiệt thòi và dễ bị tổn thương. Sở Quy hoạch Kiến trúc Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh đánh giá đây là một dự án rất thú vị và có ý nghĩa giáo dục. Chương trình cũng có thể lồng ghép nội dung giáo dục những vấn đề thực tiễn tại Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh như môi trường đô thị của thành phố, ngập lụt, ô nhiễm, chăm sóc nuôi dưỡng đam mê sáng tạo của trẻ em và những ứng xử, hành động thông minh, có ý thức hơn, hướng đến phát triển đô thị bền vững. Các chuyên gia đến từ Phần Lan sẽ hướng dẫn các em thiết kế và quy hoạch Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh trở nên thân thiện với trẻ em hơn. Trong quá trình thiết kế, trẻ em sẽ sử dụng các vật liệu cơ bản như đất sét, gỗ, máy tính, bản vẽ phác thảo 3D để phát triển và thể hiện các ý tưởng của mình.
Ở hầu hết mọi nơi trên thế giới, quá trình thiết kế đều được thực hiện bởi người lớn, trong khi trẻ em mới chính là người sử dụng cuối cùng. Ví dụ như các công trình trường học, công viên, khu vực công cộng, khu vui chơi giải trí. Chương trình này tạo ra môi trường thuận lợi cho trẻ em thể hiện mong muốn của mình, bày tỏ ý kiến về các quyết định có ảnh hưởng đến chính các em, để các chuyên gia quy hoạch đô thị và những người làm chính sách sẽ tạo ra một môi trường an ninh, an toàn, sạch đẹp, có xem xét đến quan điểm và góc nhìn của trẻ em.
Bà Nguyễn Phi Vân, Chủ tịch Hội đồng Cố vấn của Sài Gòn Innovation Hub cũng nhận định, chương trình cung cấp cho trẻ em tư duy thiết kế lấy con người làm trọng tâm, cung cấp kỹ năng cần có trong thế kỷ 21. Ban tổ chức hy vọng sẽ làm người xem ngạc nhiên với những ý tưởng phi thường về một thành phố Hồ Chí Minh thông minh và thân thiện với trẻ em trong tương lai qua cách suy nghĩ và góc nhìn của trẻ. Đến cuối tháng 10 năm 2018, các ý tưởng của các em sẽ được ban tổ chức triển lãm, giới thiệu tới các chuyên gia quy hoạch và công chúng tại tuần lễ sáng tạo thành phố Hồ Chí Minh 2018.
So I'm very sorry it's in Vietnamese, but basically that's the whole journey of how UNICEF, Saigon Innovation Hub, Finland, and the Department of Urban Planning and Architecture come together to actually create a designing contest for the kids. And you have seen some of the photos there. They actually make the designs and exhibit the designs and also present it in front of the city government and also a lot of ambassadors and consulate generals of different countries in Ho Chi Minh City. So it was a hugely successful and create a lot of attention from not only the city and national level, but also internationally.
It's great to see how Vietnam has contributed to many fields, whether it's investment, education, startups, cybersecurity. It's a country that's really moving forward. So just to sum up, Ms. Phi, talking about sustainable development, how can every country around the world, including countries in the ASEAN community, which are still developing countries in some areas, create the keyword sustainable development? Because our program is focusing on City Talk, which today's keyword and today's motto, Vietnam, is sustainable development.
I think there are three things that I would like to share through my experiences working with the city and also the nation. I think that the first keyword is innovation. You cannot move away from innovation. Whether you want to take anything forward, you want to develop whatever, you want to create new solutions, you want to be to solve very complex problems in terms of sustainability. The keyword has to come from design thinking and innovation, because without a different way of thinking, we will not be able to create anything new. I think secondly is the word people. Because we talk a lot about the revolution 4.0, we talk a lot about technology, we talk a lot about digitalization, but at the end of the day, those are just tools. And only the people behind those tools who know how to use the tools and have a heart to actually change things, will make things happen. So I think there should be a lot of investment into creative education, into investing into the future generations, especially our kids in K-12 at the moment. Give them the opportunity to be part of the future, to create the future, to design the future, and you see a very, very different future in any nation. I think the third keyword is doing it together. Without togetherness, without the whole ecosystem of stakeholders, from government to private sector, to the business community, to the investing community, to the institutions and education sector, it would be very difficult to create amazing changes in any government or any nation or any city. So I think togetherness is the keyword that I would like to put forward.
So we have innovation, number one. Number two is the people, and number three is together or cooperation in every aspect.
Correct.
So is there anything you would like to add, Ms. Phi, as we have a couple of minutes left on our program, and we're absolutely honored to have you here. So any last messages, any keynotes?
I won't have keynotes, but I am a big fan of Thailand. I love Thailand a lot. I used to actually go there every month because I have a lot of friends in the innovation ecosystem in Thailand. I actually have very good friends who are also angel investors into startups in Thailand. So I would love to see more public programs in terms of promoting innovation in Thailand itself, and especially the area of Bangkok. I would love to help and support and bring ideas and put forward any thoughts if needed. And I would love to see how we can also connect those projects between not only Vietnam and Thailand, but also to the wider ASEAN region, because as you know, as board director of the ASEAN Business Angel Alliance Network, we are now doing everything together at the regional level. So I think there's a lot of lessons and connectivity and support from the regional level that could be brought forward to help, bring new ideas and make exciting projects happen in Thailand.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, this is a first step, giving us all the great ideas and using Vietnam as a business model in terms of sustainable development. So really today's case study is Vietnam, and our keyword today for City Talk is sustainable development. Thank you very much. We are absolutely honored to have you here. She is, of course, the board advisor, Ministry of Science and Technology of Vietnam, board member at ASEAN Business Angel Alliance, and chairwoman, Board of Advisors, Saigon Innovation Hub. This is Ms. Phi Van Nguyen. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the time we have for City Talk. And next, we will look at other countries as case studies and other keywords as well. The City Talk focuses on innovation, development, sustainability, and that's all the time for today. We'll see you on our next episode with more interesting case studies, more countries to look at, and more keywords. Remember, today is sustainable development, and Vietnam is a great case study of that keyword. Thank you.